Boggy Creek Life. I'm Cam Boggs. Thanks for stopping by. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please do. Turn on the notifications so that way you won't miss any upcoming content. And if you have already subscribed, I'd like to thank you very much. I've noticed a recent influx in subscribers, and I'd like to keep that going in a positive direction. Now, if you're new to this channel is just about stuff I like to do, but mostly modeling. But in the future, I'll probably add some other things as well. Now, that being said, since the last video, at the end, I said that the next one we're probably going to work on a model. And it's just how it's time consuming because I'm kind of working two jobs right now. But I'm going to stick to my word, and we're going to work on Gary Oldman Vlad from Bram Stoker's Dracula from the 90s, just because he's been sitting on the table way too long. He's not that far from being finished. So we're going to go ahead and get him knocked out. Without any further ado, let's get to painting. Alright, so here's where we're currently at. The base is done. I may go back and highlight the bricks a little more and stuff, and we'll see that later. And you can see I've pretty much got everything based out here. I went with some blues in the shadows. Not really sure if I like that. That's the first time I ever tried that. I may add a little bit of white over that to soften it up some. But I need to go back in and put some more highlights, lighter highlights for sheen in the gown and in the robe on the ripples. You can see I already added the shadows to it. And if you look at one of the earlier videos when I was working on his head, his hair, I said I was done, but I'm not. I wanted a little lighter in that, so I'm going to do another wash or two lighter over that. The face I'm good with. I'm good with the face, the skin tone, and the skin tone on the hands is like one or two washes behind the face, so we got to catch that back up. And then I think we'll be about done with him after that. I know it doesn't sound like a whole lot, but it is. If you're me, anyway. So anyways, in no particular order, and I can't get his head back on, but that doesn't matter. He doesn't need his head back on anyways. Let's get started. Okay, so what I originally whitened this up with, if I remember correctly, it was Freak Flex Turn Ghost White or something like that. But I got a bunch of these Pro Acrylic because I bought some of the washes and I liked them, so I figured I'd try out the paint. I haven't had a chance to try them out yet. And this says it's transparent white, and we'll go ahead and give her a try. I mean, they come with a shaker in it, and I already shook it though on the paint shaker, so you don't have to hear all that noise. Let's see how transparent it actually is, because what I'm trying to do, the recesses, I want to lighten them up a little bit because it just makes it look a little too dark. His hair was like pretty white, had a little bit of blonde and reddish highlights in it, a couple drops of water there. So I like to make stuff kind of thin, depending on what it is, and this would be one of them ones that I want to make thin. But first we'll just try it straight. Just an old decent crap brush, not nothing for details or anything. Some Amazon specials. Let's see how thin it is. Because to me, to be transparent, you should probably be thin. Try to get it down in there. I don't know. Might be a little too thick for me. Water down just a little bit. Some of them are going to be a little darker. Not really trying to kill the shadows, just lighten them up just a little bit. Bring out the highlights a little more. It's funny how you change your mind if you let stuff sit long enough sometimes. On your ideas of what was good enough and what don't work for you now. Water out the edges of it so to blend it in. Remember, his head is tilted like this. If you watch the last video, so the light's coming down from this way, this angle here, because his head is tilted like this. Water to it. Set it up just a little bit, maybe another one there. Because that's going to be the highlight coming down. His head's turned like this. It's hard to show you on the camera like that. But he's looking like that, and the light source is coming from this way. But at least the focus works pretty well now. I did do some camera dabbling. Just here, lighten it up a little bit there. I may go back in with just some white and put highlights on it later. But his hair is pretty white. Getting totally rid of the shadows, lighten them up a little bit. Kind of wash it back and forth there. Help blend it together. The only thing, it was real hard to get that seam right there in the hair. As a rough place for a seam. Couldn't really see it until some paint got slapped on it. As good as I could get it. Well, as good as I wanted to get it, I guess. I didn't feel like destroying the sculpt. Hitting the highlights on the top of his head. Around this side where the light would be the strongest. Still keeping a little bit of shadows. Around the back curves. Up underneath. We're going to go back in and put some white highlights on after that. Because it's lightened it up, but it's also give him a little more gray effect. Go across the highlight on his bun. Brings it out a little more. It doesn't seem as dark as it was. So I'm down in there, lighten those up a little bit. So you can see what we basically did is took our highlights from dark gray to lighter gray. Kept a little bit of the dark ones in there, gives it a little more depth. Plus add a little bit of water to the different areas. Gives it a little more color change, so it doesn't look all just the same. Because remember the movie, which I'm sure many of you do, his hair was white. And I thought I was happy with it before, but the more I looked at it, I wasn't. Alrighty. So we got that shadows lightened up a little. Let's see, look in the camera. Now, there we go. Alrighty, we'll go ahead and hit that with the hair dryer so you don't have to listen to it. We'll be right back. So anyway, while I was using the hair dryer when I was done, I'm still not getting the effect that I desire. I'm thinking, his hair looked more like a powdered wig kind of color, and then it clicked on me. Why not use some powders? Some pastels. Ain't no fancy brand, it's from Michael's or something like that. The old piece of sandpaper, so all these colors are not what I put on. I put this orange and this light yellow color I'll mix them together. Because he's got like, if you look at certain parts of the film, he's got like these reddish, like very, very light reddish, brownish streaks. And then I'm going to try some white over top of that. And a good thing about pastels, if it doesn't turn out, all you do is put some water on the Q-tip and take it right off, you know. Pretty much all this will come right off water, rubbing alcohol if you don't like it. If you ain't cleared it yet. So, let's mix some of this together. On our sandpaper here. Just a regular old... this doesn't even have a brand name on it. But it's like a kind of a rounded point, flat. I use these ones for dry brushing. I believe they were sold as a dry brush set. Maybe Micro Mark or something like that. So we got a little light orangish, reddish color going on there. Knock the excess off. Really, really faint. A couple spots. I say, like, to me, that's really too bright if you see it in person. So I'm gonna dust it off a little bit, or blow on my pastel the way doing that. It also helps break it up a little. Dry paper towel, get the extra off. You can see it's getting a little lighter there. That's what I want. Just want it to be just kind of little noticeable. Not like, oh my God, Vlad used to be a redhead, which he was redheaded or dark-headed in the movie. I remember it was pretty dark scenes when he was young. We got them little bit of color in there. Maybe give him a little bit. Open them shadows up underneath his bun. Where it might be a little more prevalent, a little more darker. And the other thing I have to remember too is I have to go back and do all this to the ponytail hanging down the back. So that means I have to put that paint on it first and then go back and do this. And this is a Saturday night I'm recording this, and I had to go to work tomorrow Sunday. I've been working 7 days a week for a minute now. Same place, but 2 different jobs. If you are friends with me on Facebook, you've seen the 63 split window bed I've been working on. So that's the second job. Not a permanent second job, but it'll be a while. It's getting there. Oh yeah. I like how it's coming around there a little bit. Then we're going to go after that. Dust that up with some white. We're going to go ahead and put just a little more. Get it on, obviously, the other side, too. And see, that's an important thing when you're learning to model. I mean, I've been into art all my life, but I haven't been into this modeling all my life. It's important to, you know, try things out because you never know if you're going to like something, if it's going to work, if it's not. And what doesn't work in one situation may work in another. And it's art. As long as you like it, that's all that matters. It's your art. You do something like this because you love it. And if you get to make any money off of it, well, that's just an added bonus. But when it becomes no fun no more, I'm sure plenty of you have heard people say it. It becomes like a job. That's when it's no fun. Alright, so now you can see got a little bit of the light brown, the red, whatever you want to call it, showing up in there. And go back in, hit it with this white. Get it all down in the creases. Still keeping some of that red as we're working our way around, and we're coming out much much lighter than we started. And it's getting that powdered look that I was going for. Now the whole thing is, at least in my experience, is sometimes clear coat can just mess pastels all up. You end up having to put either really laid on heavy, because when it gets wet from the clear, you know, it just like kind of disappears. Or seriously, put it on like really heavy. So when it does get wet, a little bit of it hangs behind, and sometimes you gotta, you know, do a couple coats or something. I hear a ringing. I don't know if it's coming from the computer. It sounds like it just came on. You can hear it, I'm sorry. Alright. There we go. A little more what we're working for. So let me go ahead, hit this with the clear coat, see how it turns out. So I went ahead and what I used was Vallejo satin varnish, and I just laid it on with a brush, and I didn't dilute it any because I didn't really want to water it down and move more. You can see the light brown stayed, and some of the white pretty much stayed. And I think when I go over, you know, with white like titanium white or whatever, maybe a little dry brush to put the really white hair back in, the highlights, you know, I'm gonna leave some of that show through, obviously. I think it'd be all right. I tried putting a little bit of the satin, because, you know, satin's not completely matte, like on the side of his skin that would have a shine on it from the light coming, but it didn't really show up. And this satin stuff tends to be pretty flat. Even I find that this Vallejo matte, all that varnish out of the bottle is I mean, this has all been cleared with different, you know, sheens of clear. The skin was cleared with matte, the hair done with satin, which is not as shiny as I would like it to be, but yeah, I mean, if you ask me, that's way more flat than Testers, which, you know, is now Rust-Oleum anyway. But I mean, you can airbrush it if you want, if you water it down, but I like it for brush stuff. I use the Rust-Oleum matte spray for big stuff, because like I said, I'm almost positive it's just the old Testers dull coat just in a big can, because it's the same company that makes it, so they're not going to make 19 different formulas for 19 different products. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and slap some white on here, see how she looks, or he looks. So we got a little bit of old titanium white there, a little bit of water, a Kolinsky brush. I don't know if that's actually sable or synthetic. It says synthetic on it. Round number, man, it just says round 1. I have some of the natural ones, but I save them for like eyeballs and stuff. And I've got on the old jeweler's glasses for the exceptionally blind. Alrighty. I know it said it was something about dry brushing, but I think I'm gonna wet brush it because I want to go in and hit these hairs that are, you know, connected to the scalp right there. Alright. So let's play some Benny Hill music. So you can see stand out and look much whiter. I've just did a few hairs. Not gonna make y'all sit through all of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that done, and then I'll be back. Alright, now just so you can see what I'm talking about with his head cocked and what I'm trying to achieve here. And we're gonna see if this actually works while I'm recording. But you can see, well, you can't see at home there, but there's big light in front of this. I can see it on my hand. There's all kinds of lights behind it, so all this shadow is really not there. It's being done by the camera or something. So it's pretty bright. Now, there are natural shadows at play. I mean, I did put some highlights on the side of his face and made it lighter, but like these darker shadows here, those are natural. But when I'm talking about the hair, let's see if it'll let me do all this while I'm recording. As you can see, how the highlights I've done on this side, that's pretty much what I've done. And this side is darker, so I'm going to add some more highlights because my light source is coming from up here. At least that's just how I want it to appear. So I'm going to add some more highlights. So probably around where you see those natural highlights, and on the back side of the bun. And that's what I'm shooting for. This is the brighter side. This is the darker side. Alrighty, so I'm gonna get back to it, and you'll see it when I'm done. Alright, so once again, we're going to go back in now and make the ponytail match the hair. As you can see, it's darker and grayer as the hair on the head is more white now. So we go back out the translucent or transparent white Pro Crew, because that was the first step in lightening these grays up some. I'm not gonna make you sit through all this because I have to twist this some ways that ain't so camera angle friendly. So we'll be back in a minute. Got our individual hair done and all that. Left it just a tad darker on this side because, like I said, remember his head's cocked like that. But I still don't have the highlights over here that I want. So what I'm gonna do, make them pop a little more. So I'm going to put some Vallejo gloss varnish just where I want like the highlights on that side, you know, or how the light's casting down at this angle here from the back. Alrighty. Bun there, just cutting it off like halfway across where it would be pointed down, you know, you really wouldn't catch no light on it anymore. Not brightly anyways. Pretty much our strongest highlight would be like around this area, I believe. Let's see if you can tell. You can't tell. For some reason, I just cannot figure out the lighting with these cameras. You can see just a little bit. Oh, you'll definitely be able to tell at the end. Alright, so you get the gist of that. I won't make you suffer through that in the ponytail. We'll be back. Okay. So you can see I went and I took the Vallejo gloss varnish there, and we turn it to the light side. You can see a little bit of the sheen on it, shine. that I put to bring out the shine in hair. You see it. Because hair's got some shine too if you put bright light on, but the further it twisted around into the shadows, I didn't put it, and then I picked it up here because the light source is coming this way. So I picked it up over here. I picked it up on the edges of this across the top. And then you can see it right there. And the further it goes, the sparser it gets, just a couple strands. Because that's the way his head will be turned down in shadow like that. I even took just a little bit of it and put it on the highlights of his head right there. And then I took my finger and like dabbed it so it wouldn't be super strong. Picked some of it back up with my finger. So I'm happy with the way it came out. I also did that to his ponytail. But right now, we're going to go ahead and catch the hands up with the skin tone of the face. So what I used to whiten up the rest of the skin after I made the base skin color was I used Freak Flex Turn Ghost White by Badger. And I even watered this down some. I mean, it's pretty watery paint already. So I just put like 5 drops in. And then like right on top of it, just water. I got water in a little drip bottle. I just put like equal amount of drips of water into it because I like it. I'd rather have to build up than to say, oh, hell no, I made it too dark. You know what I mean? And maybe just wanted to grow on. So as you can see, the hands are not the same shade of pale white as the face. So we'll go ahead and mix up our water and our Turn Ghost White here. Just basically making like a whitewash. Well, the videos are a little better than they used to be, but still, it's need more equipment and more room. This is better than what I started out with, so. And what I would do is just go over the whole thing. Nice thin coat. You probably can't even really see it. See it a little bit just because it's wet. I don't let it puddle. If you let it puddle, then it'll dry a solid color in one spot. It won't be so transparent. Like I said, you do something like this, it might take a couple coats. And then too, I'll probably do what I did with the face. After I get done, I take the gloss varnish and just blot it on there for like a little bit of sheen on the highlights. Because, you know, skin is mostly flat, but when it has like a light source beating on it, you know, it has its little shiny spots. Yeah, it's not like totally flat. Yeah, might even give our fingernails one more milking over before we put the clear on them. Alrighty, so I won't torture you all with this boring process, but you see the what has to be done. And at any time, if you guys ever have any questions or anything, feel free to ask them in the comments. Probably not too many questions. I mean, this stuff is everywhere. Especially if you're in the hobby, you already know how to do this stuff. But if you don't, or you can shoot me a message there on Boggy Creek Studio on Facebook, and I will gladly answer any questions you got about any techniques or anything that you see here, because you know, that's how I learned most of it, is people freely taught me, you know, and that's how you keep passing it forward and making sure that hobbies like this don't die out. I mean, You can see there, compared to the other hand, how we're getting wider. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish this part up, and we'll see you after that. Alright, so what we're gonna do next here is we're gonna paint some fingernails. Hey, and give the hand a little bit of just a little bit of shine on the highlights, you know, the bony knuckles and stuff, you know, to catch the light because the skin's stretched. Alrighty, lay out gloss there. So what I'm gonna do is get just a little bit on the tip of my brush, and like right here on the knuckle tip. Just blot that on there. And I'm just going to blot it off with my finger. So it's still there a little bit, but it's not like super overwhelming. Just put like a dab on these tops of these skin wrinkles here. See it at all on the camera. When I get done with this, I'm gonna take some pictures with a real camera, post them up to the page on Facebook. I know his skin's not as white as it is in the movie on my model, but that's just too white for me. Too much white, like the hair, the face, and the gown just like all blend together to me. It worked well in the movie. I didn't think it made for such a great looking model. But just my opinion. My model. Unless, you know, somebody wants to buy it. Alrighty, we'll go ahead and finish up these hands here. And then we'll be back. Okay, you can see the sheen on the fingers, the knuckles, the wrist bone. That's what I just painted on it, because you can tell by the middle there's no sheen there. That's not the natural light catching it. That's what I put on it. Same down there with the knuckle bones. I may go back over them fingernails with another color. I don't know. They're kind of bland, but I mean, in the overall of everything, they're kind of small. I don't know. It all depends on how much I feel like getting into it. But there you go. So a little bit of hand sheen. Fingernails glossed up, and we'll be on to the next thing. Alright, so what I'm gonna do here is I did a quick mask off. I'm gonna go in and lighten up some of these shadows. I don't like it's like too dark up there. Yeah, and highlight the folds more. And just a quick note, I originally, when I painted this originally, I used silly putty, which I'm not saying is not an excellent thing. I don't think it was so great for this though. It's because it's not necessarily super smooth down in these creases. It has like little pinholes and crevices and stuff you just can't sand out. And might be great in a cold place, but down here in South Florida, silly putty will basically melt. And that's even in the wintertime down here, even in the air conditioner, you know, because then people leave the house and the air's set different, whatever. So yeah, I had to take like a dental pick and pick out all this, and tweezers and pick out all this little bit. So that's why I'm just throwing some tape in there, and with a little bit of shadow, it'll, you know, cover up the imperfections, hopefully. Let's get to it. All right, so I got my Freak Flex transparent pearl white. Just what I originally blew on there. And got my cup. Just a little bit in there. Some people mix this right in the airbrush water. Some people, I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I am not no airbrush master. As a matter of fact, I have very little luck with it. I get lucky every once in a while. I know I've been told by several people that it needs to be the consistency of milk. And I'm like, is that 2% or powdered? Because what I've seen to happen to work is like way watery than milk. But you can't water it down too much. And some people, depending on the paints, have it put a drop of alcohol in, or you know, they sell paint thinners. I've got it all. I can't tell with some of them that some mixes better than others. But what I've found for me, pretty much just water works most of the time. I'll put a good few drops in there. I'd say probably did about a 60-40 mix, 60 paint. Little Badger, handy dandy stir. I like this thingy. It's cool. You just can't lift it up out of the cup. Stuff will fling all over the place. Very nice stir. Yeah, I used to be halfway decent with the airbrush when I was like younger, like in my 20s. But all I had was like they don't even make them anymore. By a brand called Binks. They made like paint guns for cars and stuff. It was called a Wren, W-R-E-N, like a bird. It had a little adjuster in the front, single action. I don't know. I did pretty good with that. Did some portraits, t-shirts, and all that stuff. Seems like anything I've tried single action these days is a piece of crap. And I ain't gonna lie, the dual action is kind of, it's rough to, learn. At least for me. I got this Iwata Eclipse here by suggestion. It was like the third airbrush I got. I got an old Sotar 2020 one. It's new, but it's obviously an old model. And if you've seen my the Batform Dracula I did a lot of work on that with that. But I mean, it was a lot of, like I said, messing with the mixture. It took a lot. But that's a pretty good detail brush. Everybody tells me this is like a great all around. I'm gonna try using it a couple times because I hate cleaning these things, man. I hate cleaning them. The paint sticks to the inside of the cup more than it should. Yeah, I know, I'm complaining a lot here. Plus, if you hear the sound of a fan in the background, sorry, it's just a little too hot in here. I've got the same piece of test board that I used since I started doing this like 3 years ago. I mean, if there was some airbrush classes in the area, or if I could find a good online one that I knew wouldn't be a ripoff, I would take it. I would. This is definitely a great tool. Whenever you get it to work right, but if you can't get it to work, it's very, very frustrating. Make you not want to use it at all. See, it doesn't want to let out unless you let a really big spray. So if you know what the problem to that might be, let me know. Maybe paint's too thick. I'll add a couple more drops, but it looks pretty watery to me. I mean, Freak Flex is already a bit watery to start with, but we'll see what we can do here with it. Make it work. Trying to really get rid of some of these, you can't even see it because I'm too busy yapping and complaining. I'm just trying to dull down some of these really dark blue. I mean, they're light blue, but they ended up a little too dark. Because I can't control the hairbrush. Dulling it down a little bit, slowly but surely. Now, I ain't saying they don't make a good airbrush. I think it's operator error. Matter of fact, I know it is, because can't that many people be pretty good at it, and mine just sucks. So I know it's got to be me. And I'm probably going to edit a bunch of this crap out. Because for one thing, I've noticed people just don't like to watch long videos on YouTube, especially when they're not particularly fun. But they'll watch tons of short, stupid shit. I'll make a joke. Whatever. Once again, looks much wider in person than it does on camera, but it still looks lighter than it did when I started. Alrighty, we'll go back over that with some pearlescent white. Give it that satin look again. Alright, so we're gonna call it with that. Some of our Freak Flex Pearl White bagging him. Thank goodness this don't really have to be exacting. I don't want it all over everything else, but I ain't gonna make no little lines with this. Now we get some of that silky sheen back to it. But it's not as dark as it was. Trust me, it's not even, it doesn't look as dark as it does in the camera to me here. Alrighty. So now we've got that. All nice and satiny and sheeny looking. Purplish as it seems, or blue up in there. We'll see. We're gonna take pictures of it with a real camera when we're done. I'm good with it. And there, without the tape on it, I think that looks a lot better. More what I was shooting for. More satiny, fabric-y, not as many harsh colors. Alrighty. like I said, on to the next. Alright, so what I'm doing now is I'm going in with some old Pyrrole red. And it's a little brighter than the base red, and it's nowhere near as dark as the shadows that are already on there, so I'm just kind of like breaking it up a little. Using this more towards like a medium highlight, I guess. It gives like a medium color in there. I don't know if you can tell with the camera or not. Got it glued on the cape that goes on the base too. Alright, so what I'm doing here is I'm going in with pastels. Right now I'm using this reddish pink color here. And I'm just going in on the edges a little bit to give it a little highlight. It's a little more noticeable right here in front of my face than it is on the camera, but you can tell a little bit on there. I'm just gonna go and hit all the edges, you know, where I think there should be a highlight, and then I'll put just a little less white and blend it in on the edges. And I may put some of them darks in some of the further back recesses, like back in there, maybe. Alrighty, I won't make you sit through that. I'll show you when it's done. And so anyway, there he is. I'll get some good pictures up there on Facebook, see if I can add one in here. But yeah, there you go. I added some, can't really tell because of the coloring on the camera, but I added some shadows and highlights. It's got like a velvet sheen to it, like a silk kind of sheen. We'll get some good close-ups. I got regular camera, but yeah, there we go. So there he is, all finished and done. I'll put a link on the Facebook page, for the Facebook page too, in the description, so you can stop by and like the Boggy Creek Studio page if you would. Also, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss any future content. And I know that every one of my subscriptions is out of mercy, and I do appreciate it. For the next video, we'll probably go back to mail calls and grail hauls that are a little quicker to make. Plus, I got some new stuff to show you, and some old stuff. And I hope everybody has a happy holiday season, no matter what it is you celebrate. And if you don't, well, I hope you have fun doing that too. And remember to be kind to each other, be kind to yourself, and model on.